Hey YouTube, today we are going to continue on our series on view framework, and today we are going to cover the attribute binding. Now for starters, I've created a HTML5 skeleton which includes a link to the bootstrap styling, which is this one, the one that I'm showing, and and the and the link to the view development libraries, which is this link can be found in the official view website. Also, we have created a div tag of an ID app where we are going to define the scope of the view code. Okay, for starters, let's create a view instance. So we'll create var app view and then view with capital V. Make sure you create like that, or else it will not work. And then like that. So that's we have defined. Oh, sorry about that. We have defined. Okay, sorry. I'm a little confused. We have to first create a script tag. So I create the script tags and then we paste inside there. So yeah, then inside this script view instance, now you define el. El is the scope of the view. Note that only in the when defining the view instance we are using equal sign. All the rest we are going to use colons, not the equal sign. So many young people, no, many people who are new to view usually make that mistake. So it's a colon, not a equal sign here. Make sure you note that difference. Then we create the data attribute. View usually, unless otherwise, it usually has the data attribute. So in the data attribute is where we're going to define the data that we're going to use. So inside here we are just going to create simple image tags. Okay, let me delete this, and then alt here, no image, and then we're going to create a link. Then I can use the link to my tutorials. Maybe I've created these tutorials. I can put something like that. Then view tutorial. So this is I can image tags, image. So this is the normal way. Okay, this is the normal way of creating the image tag and the link tags. This is the normal way. This is not dynamic, this is static. So for us to use the dynamic way, we are going to implement something that we are calling view attribute binding. And let me give an explanation. There are several HTML attributes. These include the image, the href, the class, the ID, style, attribute, etc. vbind dynamically binds an attribute to an expression. Consider vbind source image source. Now source is the attribute and image source is the expression. So I'm going to show you how it works. So I'm going to show you how it works. So what I'm going to do is this. So I'm going to clear this 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 image, this link and this image source. I'm going to clear them. As you can see, since I've cleared this, refresh, you can see there's nothing happens, and then there's no image. So we're going to create it to give this attributes dynamically. So I'm going to create two data attributes, data properties. One, I'm going to give it view image source. Any name, it doesn't have to be view image source. And then note we are using colon. These are actually common mistakes that people who are new to view usually confuse. You don't use full equal, use colons. Yeah, okay. I need to stress that. And then the other attribute we're going to use is the view link tag. Let me just say link. Then I'm going to create colon, then double quotes. Then I'm going to just copy this image. This image is in my folder. You can create any image from your folder. Make sure the link should initially represent the forward slash, not the backward slash, but just not that. And then I'm going to just copy this link to my tutorial. By the way, these tutorials are free on YouTube, and my site is Complab. I'm not thinking of pulling them down very soon, so you can use them. So to dynamically bind this data to this attribute, we use what we call the v bind. V minus sign bind, then colon, and then you put this image source, you put that attribute, put it there, and then you say the same thing for the link href. We bind colon href. Then you copy the attribute, the data attribute which calls really, and you paste it there. So it should work. It should change. Let's see if it works. Okay, you can see it works. So this is a way of dynamically binding an attribute to an expression. So as we are going to see in our future tutorials, this data usually being fetched from the database dynamically. So it's an easier way of binding this data to this attribute without refreshing the page, without changing the code. It just dynamically binds this data to the attribute. So that's one way of looking at it. Also, as a shortcut, you can remove this bind and just put a colon. Without the bind, it will still work. You can see it still works. So that's how it works. If you have any question, you can ask, but I will just go through it one more time. This vbind dynamically binds this attribute to this data, this expression. It dynamically binds this attribute. href is an attribute, crc is an attribute, and then these are expressions from the data property of the view instance. So that's how it works. So this data is replaced here. This statement is replaced here. Okay, that's a layman terms of explaining it. If you don't understand, You can just leave your comment in the comment section, and then I'll be happy to answer your question. Thank you.